The geology was supposed to be different than the Maury, where Neil landed.
On April 27, 1972, Charles Duke became the 10th human being to walk on the moon during Apollo 16. He spent over 20 hours on the lunar surface, conducted 3 separate moonwalks, and collected more than 200 pounds of rock and soil. The mission was declared a complete success.
We drove west for a mile and a half and sampled Plum Crater, and the next day we drove south up Stone Mountain.
But beneath that success story, something didn't add up. According to later claims, what happened on that mission was not fully revealed to the public. The official story versus the hidden narrative. For over 50 years, the explanation for ending the Apollo program has been simple: money. The Vietnam War drained resources. Public interest declined. Political priorities shifted. But Charles Duke later suggested something very different. According to his account, the decision to stop going to the moon wasn't just about budget cuts. It was about control, over information, over discoveries that might raise questions humanity wasn't ready to answer. If that's true, Apollo didn't end because we couldn't go back. It ended because someone decided we shouldn't. Why Charles Duke's words matter. This isn't a claim from a random source. Charles Duke was one of the most disciplined astronauts in history, a military test pilot, an engineer, selected specifically for his ability to remain calm and accurate under extreme conditions. He was also deeply embedded in the program. During Apollo 11, it was Duke's voice that Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin heard from mission control when they landed, meaning he wasn't just present at the end of lunar exploration. He was there at the very beginning too. When someone with that level of credibility suggests the official story is incomplete, it forces you to pause. A mission that seemed perfect on the surface. Apollo 16 launched on April 16, 1972, with clear scientific goals. Study moonquakes, analyze cosmic rays, collect samples from unexplored highland terrain, test the lunar rover in more difficult conditions. Over 3 days, Duke and Young carried out 3 long moonwalks, traveling miles across the surface. Every movement recorded, every conversation monitored. From the outside, the mission appeared flawless. No emergencies, no deviations, no surprises. But according to Duke, the official record left out something critical, because during one specific moment, about 5 hours into their second moonwalk, everything changed. The first signs that something was off. It started subtly. The moon has no atmosphere, meaning sunlight should appear harsh and pure white, shadows completely black. But in one region, Duke noticed the light looked different, bright, tinted with soft blues and greens, where there shouldn't have been any color at all. John Young confirmed seeing the same thing. Then came something harder to explain. A sound. On the moon, sound cannot travel through air, because there is no air. Yet both astronauts reported hearing tones inside their helmets. Not voices, not static, but harmonic, almost musical vibrations. Then there was time. Duke described moments where minutes felt like seconds. Tasks felt longer or shorter than they should, yet instruments showed everything was normal. Finally, a persistent sense that they were being watched, not threatened, observed. Individually, each detail might be dismissed. Together, in the same location, they formed a pattern. The discovery that changed everything. While driving across the lunar surface, Duke noticed something on the horizon that didn't belong. The shape was wrong. The moon is chaotic, covered in craters and scattered rock. But this had straight lines, sharp angles, geometry. They drove closer. What they saw looked like a structure, a formation about 100 meters long, partially buried beneath the surface, made of large, block-like segments arranged in a deliberate pattern. The material appeared darker and smoother than surrounding rock. The geometry was unmistakable. It looked constructed. Duke and Young radioed mission control, describing what they were seeing and asking permission to investigate further. Then came silence. When Houston responded, the voice was different. The instruction was clear. Do not approach. Continue the mission. Just move on. The missing photographs. Before leaving the site, the astronauts documented it. From a distance, they took photographs, carefully, methodically, capturing what should have been one of the most important discoveries in human history. But when Duke later reviewed the mission archives back on Earth, those specific photographs were gone. When he asked about them, the answers kept changing. First, technical issues, then classification. Later, lost during processing. The explanations contradicted each other and never led to the same outcome, the photos being released. Decades passed. Nothing surfaced. Over 50 years later, those images are still nowhere to be found in any public archive. Without those photographs, what they saw becomes difficult to prove. It turns into a story, compelling and detailed, but ultimately unverifiable. And history has a way of dismissing stories without physical proof, which is exactly why, to Duke, their disappearance mattered so much. An ancient mystery. What unsettled Duke even more than the missing evidence was how old the structure appeared to be. The surface showed signs of deep weathering, the kind caused by millions of years of micrometeorite impacts, solar radiation, and extreme temperature cycles. If that observation is even close to accurate, the implications are difficult to ignore. It would mean the structure didn't just predate modern civilization. It could predate humanity itself. Who built it? When? And how could something like that exist on the moon at all? Other astronauts who raised questions. Duke's account doesn't exist in isolation. Buzz Aldrin has spoken about seeing unexplained objects during missions. Edgar Mitchell later became openly vocal about his belief that certain discoveries have been deliberately kept from the public. Al Worden made even more controversial remarks, suggesting humanity's understanding of its origins might be incomplete. None of them described the exact same experience. But taken together, their statements point in a similar direction. The official narrative might not include everything. Why we never went back. If something truly extraordinary had been discovered, logic would suggest the opposite response. More missions, more urgency, not less. But according to Duke, the reaction wasn't driven by curiosity. It was driven by caution. The discovery raised questions that were too big, too disruptive. Questions that could challenge not just science, but history, belief systems, and humanity's understanding of itself. And instead of confronting those questions publicly, the safer option was chosen. Close the chapter, because once something like that is acknowledged, it can't be contained. The questions that still remain. Today, more than half a century later, the situation feels even more puzzling. We've built space stations, sent rovers across Mars, launched telescopes that see billions of light years into deep space. In terms of technology, we are far beyond the 1960s. And yet, we haven't returned humans to the moon in the same way. Charles Duke walked on another world. He saw something he believes was never meant to be seen. And if his story is true, then the moon isn't just a place we visited. It's a place we left for a reason.